Folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we are going to make a simple pair of earrings using our Little Women bead mix from our Jesse James Beads Magical Mystery Book Club bead box. So let's turn down and we'll get to work on our earrings, shall we? We've got our pieces here. We've got this little guy here. He's going to have a flower. Let's see if we can find there we go. Actually, I'm going to put him the opposite direction so our little ball head sits down there in the groove of the flower. And he's just going to be on here like so. We're going to wrap him up, and then we're going to connect to our next piece, which will be using a simple piece of wire. And what we're going to do is we're going to take, let's put half of it over here. I don't need all of it here. There's our ear wire. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and put these little flower-like bead caps around this green one. Come on, baby, go on there with the ball spacer up above. And did I put too many over here? Yes, I did. We got this one on the other side here as well. Then we're going to put this spacer here. Oh, excuse me. This big guy here is going to go in the middle here with a spacer. And I've got it wrong how I designed it again. We want the porcelain one down in the middle with the ball head above him, then this guy, then the spacers around the porcelain one, then here, here, and here. And I know you can't see how that's going to end up looking because it's a mess, but then this will then connect down at the bottom. So let's get out a piece of wire and then I can show you exactly what I'm going to do with these. Well, we'll put it together, of course, so that's definitely going to show you what we're doing. Out two 4-inch pieces of 20 gauge wire to make our pieces here. So there's number 1 for the first earring, and here's number 2 for our second. So we can put our wire away, and then we're going to take our wire first we'll set it aside for a minute. We're going to wrap up our little flower because we have to hook onto it, so we're going to get it done. Get your bell making pliers or round nose. Up and around and down and over, and make our lollipop shape. Now I'm going to wrap this like normal because I am going to use this to hook it together. So we'll just take this little wire and wrap it 3-4 times. Yeah, it looks like at least 4, maybe 5. There we go. Cut the excess off. And tuck the little tail in. There we go. Now you see I've got it tipped backwards again. I do that frequently when I'm using these little wires, so then we have to take it and straighten her back up. So there she is. So put that one aside for right now until we get our next wrap done, which is for this guy. So we will get our 90-degree turn in there. Get our bell making pliers out, or round nose like I say. Put that in, go up and around, drop it, come over and around. Now this time I want to leave a gap because we're going to snap that wire into place. So on she goes. Now see, I left plenty of gap, probably a little more than I needed because I didn't force it at all. It went right around my loop. So now we're going to do 3 or 4 wraps here. Not too many. I probably only want 2 or 3 actually, because this is going to be the bottom section of our length of. So we'll cut that baby off. And tuck it in. And that felt like it slid backwards instead of tucking. So let's get that tucked. Okay. And now we're going like this. See how we are so far? Now we're going to feed all these beads just like this onto here. So we need the little ball head first. Then I call this a rope spacer because it's got, looks like a little rope wrapped around the outside. Then this is sort of a modified dog bone. This is a pretty bead, isn't it? Come on, baby. Now that porcelain bead has got a bigger hole than the other, so it's wanting to slide around. I'm actually sort of debating something. I don't think it's got a big enough hole. Well, it's got a... Let's see if it does. See if some tubing will fit into there. If it will, we'll put some tubing in to make it so it's not quite so. Oh yes, it will. That means it's a pretty good size hole, because if the tubing goes in. So let's just cut that off so it's got the piece of tubing inside there. We're going to take this one off and put the piece of tubing in here too. You can see how it was sliding around a little bit, which was making our spacers not want to sit straight. So we'll put this guy, some tubing in this guy, put your finger right there, and then cut right at the base of the tubing. Don't cut your fingers though. And I just dropped my little piece of tubing. Did I catch it? Yes, I did. Good. Okay. So now that we've done that, what we need to do is put the tubing on the wire now. Now see how much tighter that is? With the tubing there, and then we'll put the porcelain bead over the top of the tubing, and that will keep it from sliding sideways so much, which will then make the spacers look better on it, whereas they were sort of lopsided a second ago. So now that we've got that done, we will refeed our wires on. And now, because the flower is going a specific direction, we want to make sure that the loop that we make for our ear wire goes the right direction. So we want it to go the same way as, no we don't, we want it to go the same way as the flower one, because it needs to sit this direction, so it needs to loop to this way. So let's take our pliers, face this one to you, and then bend it over. Get our bell makers out, put those in, around and about, drop, come around, leaving a gap so our ear wire will go in, all right? Like so. Now, because, well, this doesn't have a definite front and back because this flower is two-sided. If it was, you'd want to make sure you fed this in backwards so that it would turn around properly. There, that looks good. So we're going to get hold of our wires where they come together, get our other pair of pliers, and twist her up. Oops, stuck on my plier there. Now we'll cut this extra little bit off. And tuck this wire in. And now we need to straighten anything that needs straightened. So as you can see, I bent this a little bit, so we just straightened that up. These are off just a hair, so there we go. So there's our first earring. Now we'll make the second one just the same. So we'll dump out our bits and pieces for this one. First thing we want to do, of course, is wrap up our little one. Now, if you wanted to wrap them straight on the bell making pliers, you could. I don't because of the barrels. You sometimes snag up on them. So it's easier just to do them with your pliers. Now, if you wanted to know what I was just doing, I let that wire slip a little bit, so I was pushing it back up to the top. Now cut the excess wire off here, tuck her in. I see this one wants to be as stubborn as the last one and doesn't want to tuck either. We finally got it there, so now we're looking pretty straight. So just sit this aside till we get the next section done, which is to do the, well, it's the wrap that it's going to sit on, so I guess it's not going to be sitting aside for very long, is it? Up and over and around, bring her over, leave a gap for that one to go onto. See, I didn't leave as big a gap this time. There you go. Wrap her the two wires, put them together, switch, and wrap. this last teeny weeny bit off right here and tuck it in. Now we'll wind her up just like before. So we want to get one of the ball spacers, then one of these guys, this pretty guy, the next one of these, one of these guys. Now where's our little piece of rubber tubing? There it is. It goes on first. Or then we'll drop our porcelain bead right over that rubber tubing, and then the other flower bead cap. Then our flat one here again. Our pretty little lotusy looking flower. And our round spacer. There we go. Now it's time to get the top loop done. So we want to face this down. See, we're a little bent here. Grab hold with our pliers, bring her over, get our bell making pliers, up and around and down, and bring her over, leaving that slight gap so that we can get our ear wire on. Feed her through. Come on, baby, go through. I would have swore I left you a big enough gap. You know, thumbnail made a bigger one. Then we grab it, bring the wires back together. And then wrap it up. Cut the little bit of extra off. Tuck her in. And now straighten anything up, which is this main wire. It's crooked here. Okie dokie. There we go. Our earrings are finished. Aren't those cute? Hang properly, baby. Now, if you were not into this length of earring, you could always leave the dangle off it. See how pretty that looks without the dangle sitting on there? So that's another option. But there we go. There's our earrings. So here are the earrings with the Little Women bead mix. Now these are, like I say, they're sort of long. So if you don't want them that long, leave your flower off. Or you could just have, if you didn't care about the swing, you could just hook it straight up into here without this connection here. That'll take about a 1/4 inch off. But there are our earrings. And these are made using the Little Women bead mix from Jesse James Beads Magical Mystery Bead Box Book Club. I have a necklace that I'm going to make with this, and then that just leaves us 4 little beads left. Got to decide what I want to do with those 4 little beads. I actually suppose I could make a tiny pair of earrings. We'll see. Anyway, those are our earrings. And then this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.